Legends Replay Analysis for Letric Sounds Dumb, the Zerg player, versus IMX Hero, the Protoss player, at the D3 level. Letrix asks, D3 game, would love advice on decision making and what I should have done. Relatively passive game until end game composition where I just couldn't fight a straight engagement. So we're going to go ahead and take a look at this game specifically under the lens of decision making. So we're going to skip straight past all of the early game scenarios and kind of look into the mid game. Apparently this is what passes for a relatively passive game in Diamond 3. I guess we're going to ignore this. I'll just note that coming out of this, we're significantly behind in workers, so probably not a clean defense. So at this point, out of the opening, we're significantly behind in workers, and we're going to have to defend a pretty big attack here, it seems like. You kind of should know this, so at this point, you're going to want to be like spreading. You're sort of doing it now, you're getting the vision on all the bases, but really what you want to do is you want to get lings, peel them off, have one ling kind of here, one ling here, lings up front, ling here, ling here, ling here. So it's like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then like maybe a few more. So like 3 or 4 here. So in total, you want something like 9 or 10 lings that you can use to just keep tabs on anything leaving his base. You could leave like a couple lings here, and then like you could also peel off of the 4 or 5 that are here. You could start to be really diligent, peel off to make sure that he isn't like morphing pylons for weapons. And at that point, after we do that, we know we can just mash the drone key up to a reasonable drone count versus 2 pace, which in this case point would be something like 44 to 50. And also then look at eventually once we kind of see when we move forward and we see all of this static defense 50, 51, 52, even 55 is probably super reasonable because we see the forge, we see a massive investment into static. So we probably could afford a 4th base, make sure we afford a lair, and most importantly afford a ton of drones here. So good. The decision to attack in here really buys us nothing. He clearly has a ton of so just getting close enough to see the fact that he has a ton of static here is good enough. And again, I would actually not just check once, but leave lings around. And then as soon as we see this, like, I mean, this is clearly not something we are interested in attacking. So as soon as we see this, back off completely. You know, take the watchtower subdivision that we're talking about. Oh, that's interesting. I didn't know that you could see the watchtower vision range now. I wonder if this is just in replay or if this is actually in game. But either way, we just want to back off here. We're not geared up for a big attack, but we could know that we could very easily just drone up super hard. Attack up. We're really missing like a huge opportunity to massively power up in drones here, even more than we are right now. We're definitely we're like 7 drones short of where we could be, and then once we see this 3rd, we could go all the way probably to 60, 66. Oh, he's got a 4th base as well. Like this is free license to drone to 80 if we want to. Reported by hacks. Okay. So we took out his base. That's pretty nice. Again, we can still go up to that super high drone count if we so desire. Nothing preventing us. There's really no need to like be pushing in here and attacking. We could morph an overseer and use that to scout. We could have Lings run around and sort of check to see if he's taking these gases yet. He hasn't. So because he has to take these gases, we'd stop at like that 80 drone count. Because he had 2 bases. That's going to maybe even if you want to be super safe, you could say 75 drones. And then until he takes these gases, you don't really need to go up any higher. And then once you get to 75 drones, then you can just max out on Roach Ravager, get probably +1. We don't really need Carapace upgrades in ZVP matchups, so we could get 1/1. And when we max out on Roach Ravager, maybe get a Baneling Nest. You're either going to go Banelings or you're going to go. I guess the 3 tech options at this point are Banelings. They are Ravagers, not Ravagers, excuse me, Lurkers, or Ultra Shroud. So with these upgrades, we're kind of leaning towards Ultra Shroud. So we'll see what we actually end up doing. But perfectly valid here would be a Bane Nest and just, or even Roach Ravager maxing out and trying to kill him. A Bane Nest, in which case we'll make use of our like melees. Or if we just want to kind of go, if we just want to lean into like missile attack upgrades, you could start with a Roach Ravager max out, but quickly move into a Hive and Lurkers. There's basically no wrong answers here. The biggest thing that we need to do here is we need to make an Overseer and scout around. Make sure there's no Stargate going down, these sorts of things. Once we see this robotics bay, then we definitely would want to bridge up to Hive. At this point, you're going to want to go, even if you're maxing out Roach Ravagers, you'd want to go like two Vipers, and the Vipers kind of momentum can like stop the Colossus or the Disruptors, the basically the Robo Bay tech from dominating your army. And then ultimately your long-term answer again would be Ultras with Shroud and or probably or, not really and or, but or Lurkers. Lurkers with range upgrades. Both those would make his Robo Bay technology completely worthless. One thing you could also think about doing whenever you see the robotic space, you could think about dropping a Spire and doing some meta play to pick them apart. But then eventually you'd bridge into the same compositions that I was talking about. Notice that he's shown a propensity for making static defense, so like 90 drones would have been the freest. We could have 5 bases, 90 drones, 10 gases running, and we can just have whatever hive tech, we want. Use your tech choice of probably go to max out of Roach Ravager and then like we use the Roach Ravager to apply pressure like you're doing, but on 90 drones instead of 70, low 70, and then you're building up a massive bank behind it, and then like as you're trading out, you can slowly build into your actual tech. At this point, we should be building into actual tech. This Spire is probably the worst choice, again, because he's not actually going for any scare. So we should definitely be making an Overseer and scouting. Like at this stage in the game, like Overseer speed, Overlord speed, and kind of constantly scouting and checking to see what he's up to. And you're seeing that he's just stuck on this composition. So there's really no need to actually make a Spire here. You're so far ahead, you can make a safety Spire just to negate the need to scout. And just start to just start to get your upgrades. Your Carapace is probably an important one. But if you're going to do this, these sorts of plays, like you still need to be on like 90 workers. So the biggest issue is not on 90 workers here. And also we don't have like a clear tech choice. Mitas is not a good tech choice, and Broodlords are a very, very late game tech choice, not like an early late game or late mid game tech choice. Hydralisc Den goes down. This probably should have started at the same time our Infestation Pit if we're planning on going Lurkers, so that we could start the Lurker Den around the same time we start the Hive. It's still unclear what kind of Hive tech we're choosing to go for. So again, the Hive techs that we can go for are Ultras, Lurkers. Those are kind of the 2 hive techs. Ultras with Shroud or Lurkers. Broodlords are very, very late game hive tech, so would not go them immediately. Ultras and lurkers at the so like we took a very, very long time to choose a hive tech, and then we chose both, but on very, very low worker count. So this is not so great. Like we're not going to be able to afford anything. We stayed on this army for a very long time. And this is just going to allow him to, you notice he hasn't maxed out. What this is going to do, the fact that we're not like getting into our higher tier tech army, is we're getting him a chance to max out and push us before we actually make any of our high tech units. We'd like to have gone into one of these much faster, started to trade out, actually gone into them, kept his army small, and basically never given him a chance to like win this game. I don't know if we end up losing this game, it's a complete throw, and it's completely based off of not getting a high worker count and not like committing to a high tech. It's okay to go to max out on Roach Ravager, especially if you get like 2 Vipers to help deal with these high tech units. But you need to then be replacing it with a good army, not with more Roach Ravager. A Bane Nest here, you could morph Banes and just kind of start sending them into mineral lines. That would be completely valid way to play with this. It would be much better than just having Lings sitting here uselessly. Having like a Ling at all potential expansions is good too. We finally go into Ultras, but there is notably, if you're going to go Ultras, you really need to have with them the Microbial Shroud. So probably like 5 Ultras, 6 to 8 Infestors at minimum is what we're looking for. But we're sort of doing this weird combination of Lurker Ultra. It's not so good because they don't synergize very well. Ultras can mow through things, plow through things. Lurkers have to set up and siege things slowly, move forward slowly. So they're very unsynergistic. You know what I'm saying. All right, let's just see how this ends. Finally, we do get the carriers. Again, we're not overseer scouting. We should be overseer scouting this entire time. And we should be just getting, since we have this spire, we should just be getting carapace upgrades this entire time, regardless. And that's really all we need to do with the carriers, is to have equal, at least no more than like 1 carapace upgrade behind the Protoss player. The Protoss player's air weapons. So right now we're going to be fine, even though, because he's just not researching air weapons, but he could be. So that's the big reason why you don't want to be caught off flat-footed by the carrier switch, mostly because you don't want to be caught without upgrades. If we have Microbial Shroud and we don't have like this weird, we got rid of these Ravagers are no longer in the army. I mean, you can have the Hydras, that's fine, but we had like Microbial Shroud and we had a couple more Ultras. We could just Microbial Shroud and like push through a lot of these areas. And like we also, the big thing too is this is why we need to have Lings at bases, is it's a lot easier to stop a base from going up. So like right now this base is not up, so this farm is very easy to fight. It gets a lot harder to fight once he actually puts the base up and he starts putting static defense. So as soon as you see him try to establish this, you want to stop that. You want to take the fight and stop this from happening. The same is true of this base over here. You want to have Lings, like some sort of Lings here, so that whenever he attacks the Lings, you move back with your army there to like see if he's taking the base, leave a Ling there if he's not, and actually try to stop the base from going up if he is. We try to fight here after the side defense has gone up, so we're just a little bit late. Notice that these Lings basically did nothing. Again, Banelings here would have been much nicer. They would have at least blown up probes. Vipers are not really, when we're going the Ultras, the Vipers are not really that integral. So the Infestors are really the spellcaster that we need at this point. This should never go up for free. And yeah, we've just kind of now gotten to the point where he started to max out. He started to get a bank. He started to secure positions, and the game's really starting to become extremely difficult. It's very playable for us from here. We're much lower on drone count than we need to be, or we still have a lot of pretty garbage units in our army. But the game's still very playable. But like we need the game was basically borderline unlosable, and now it's like bound back to like it's pretty even. If not, the Protoss being slightly ahead because their army is getting a lot better, more better than your army is. Okay, this is good. Remax, come over this way. Stop this space from going up. You want to find ways to clear. At this point, you need to find ways to clear static. So that's why Lings and Banes become very useful because Lings and Banes, when they're grouped up, static defense clears pretty effectively. Banelings do, that is. So at this point, you want to find like ways to clear static defense that is like without the army being there. When you show up and the army's there, this is not a place we want to fight. So we need to like start doing pick apart mode. And unfortunately, we're getting picked apart with these like side armies that we have. Like having a big pack of sidelings is good, but of course, always make sure at this stage of the game you have overseers with every army hockey that you have. What? Are our links just not all upgraded? Are you missing? You have adrenal. It's just wow. Okay, hold on. I guess it is 10. It's just the positioning here is very rough. This should be fine. It's mostly like, we don't have OB speed? We do have OB speed. The OBs arrived very late to the party. It's just because if you notice, we don't fight like this fight is like the only way that these Dark Templar actually beat this amount of Lings. If we even just come around the Ultra Cavern, let him kill the Ultra Cavern, it's fine. Like, and surround this way, he would probably win this fight pretty easily. But yeah, we sort of funnel through here. He gets kind of quite a few shots off, and then we never really get a full surround on him. The resources lost is really starting to go out of our favor. Again, we don't want to break positions while he's there. We want to be sharking around and find positions. That's why this first break we did was so good, is because his army wasn't there, and then we pulled away almost immediately when his army was there. We want to do that again. We need to start keeping that up. All right, nice manner from you at the end. Yeah, the biggest things here is choose a hive tech, actually go with it. Get to 90 drones in the situations where you see him, like you're going to be playing like a long game. You can like a lot sooner. You can start even going up to more drones. 75 drones in Mac on Roach Ravager, trading with Roach Ravager, and initially replacing with like even more drones, and then finally replacing with like higher tech units, whatever your hive tech unit choice is. And then once he does stop bases from getting established in the first place. Once he does get to the point where he's established bases, you need to stop fighting where he is and start fighting where he's not, to clear the static defense and to keep him contained. And your goal is to eventually compel him to come fight you because he is running out of resources. All right, thank you. If you enjoyed this replay analysis, just know that there is a lot more. The Ladder Legends Discord, which I will put a link in the description. Thanks. Bye.